Welcome back, JDE professionals. Today we're discussing how to use orchestrations to monitor RTE transactions. That's right, we're using JDE to monitor JDE, and if something goes wrong, then we're going to notify the CNC of the issue before anyone else finds out. Our RTE Complete Reference Guide shows how RTE transactions work by sending data to third parties via XML. Now, if something goes wrong and the records get stuck in F90710 without this orchestration, no one knows about it until the third party complains or someone checks the file. So if you want to know how to install and set up RTE to send info to third parties, send us a request to buy this guide. It's only $99 USD. Here's how it normally works. When the transaction happens in the web server, i.e. a sales order or an address book addition or whatever, it turns to the enterprise server, and if RTE is enabled for this particular process, the data will be inserted into the F90710 event transfer table and also transacted into Enterprise 1 so that the two systems have the same data that was entered. The RTE transaction server keeps checking the F90710 table, and if it finds data, the transaction server will put it into XML output and puts it into the defined queue. The third party will then consume it and put it into their system, unless our JDE system has some kind of issue and the data remains sitting in the F90710 event transfer table unprocessed. Now let's see how to use Orchestrator to monitor the RTE service to notify us in a timely manner if there's a failure. Here you see the section from the guide for RTE Monitor and the high-level steps to set it up. 1. Create a data request. 2. Create a rule. 3. Create a message request. 4. Create an orchestration. And 5. Test the orchestration. These are the high-level steps required to allow your JDE system to monitor this RTE transaction in JDE. Yes, your JDE is monitoring your JDE. We've set up the following rules. We'll send a warning email to the CNC when the number of records in the F90710 is greater than 5, and an alert email when the number of records is greater than 10. These arbitrary numbers can be changed, of course, depending on your needs. The beauty of this is your CNC will know about the issue before the third-party consumer does, via an email similar to this one. Now it's time to test the orchestration. All the steps are documented in the guide very clearly. If the count in F90710 goes past 5, you get a warning, and if the count is greater than 10, you get an alert email. Let's check how many records are currently in the event transfer table on our system. From Data Browser, we open the table and we see there is no data in the file right now. Okay, so here is the orchestration. This is the service request to fetch the data from the table and get the count value, which is then passed to the alert rule. If the count is greater than 10, the rule gives true and calls the alert message. If the count is 10 or less, we get a false and we call the warning rule, which checks if the count is greater than 5. If true, we call the warning message, which sends an email to the CNC giving a heads up. Otherwise, it does nothing. Everything's cool. Now let's execute this orchestration and see what happens. Click Run and we get a count of 0. Therefore, no warnings or alerts. Now let's create a few records, 8 to be exact, and retest the orchestration. Now we get a count of 8. This is in our warning range, and indeed we did get the required warning email giving us a heads up to a potential issue. So you go do other stuff, and in the meantime your users create a few more records in the system, 13 to be exact. We run the test again and we get a count of 13, which triggers the alert email to the CNC team saying, hey, listen up, we have a real problem here, check it out. So okay, you click the DB RTE link and it takes you to the server manager, and right away you see the instance is down. So right away you know what happened. So now all you have to do is schedule this orchestration to run periodically, which will allow JDE to monitor this RTE process. So like I said before, your JDE is monitoring your JDE, and your third party might not even know there was an issue at all. Pretty amazing stuff. To know more about automation and orchestrations, or to purchase the Orchestrator Complete Reference Guide, drop us an email or give us a call. The guide sells for $499 USD and includes 3 free service calls of up to 1 hour each. As more features are added to Orchestrator, we in turn add them to the guide so that you are always up to date. Remember, this guide doesn't cost you money, it makes you money, and it makes you a better CNC. Buy it today. That's all for now. Bye bye.